It's that time of year. The summer brings rumors, and the Magic have been linked to NBA superstar Devin Booker. And this has major implications and could potentially be something that this team would want to do if it was possible. That's what we're going to talk about today. What exactly is going on in Phoenix? And is Orlando really a true player for Devin Booker if the Suns were to move on from his services? Guys, welcome to Magic Digest. I'm your host, Patrick Previty. This is your one-stop shop for Orlando Magic basketball content here on YouTube. Now, the views have been picking up, and I appreciate you guys so much, but we bring back this graphic. If you are not new here, you know what this looks like, but only 30% of you guys who are watching these videos are subscribed, so it means a lot to me if you guys would just hit that subscribe button and keep the channel pushing. But I appreciate everybody leaving comments and engaging with the videos. It's always good to talk Orlando Magic basketball content with you guys. And we're in the summer, so it's all about the speculation. It's all about the rumors and the endless possibilities that are being presented. So this comes from a Bleacher Report article written by Grant Hughes, where he floated out the top 5 landing spots for Devin Booker during the 2025 NBA offseason. But as you guys may be asking yourself, it begs the question, is Devin Booker even available right now? And I think that that is pretty much the main issue with all of this. And he does start out with this quote: Devin Booker may not want to play for a team other than the Phoenix Suns, and team governor Matt Ishbia told ESPN's Tim McMahon that a Booker deal will never happen. End quote. That is a direct quote. But of course, as we know, with what has gone on with the Suns and their organization, with Kevin Durant potentially leaving, with just the Bradley Beal anchor that is on this team, and then having no future picks, they could potentially be in the market for a full reset. So that's where a lot of this different stuff and these different rumors comes from. Where exactly would he potentially want to go? Well, he mentioned 5 teams in this article, and of the 5 teams, the Orlando Magic were mentioned as somebody who could potentially be a buyer for Devin Booker's services. Now, who was also mentioned? The Houston Rockets, based off of their loss to the Golden State Warriors in the very first round of the Western Conference playoffs. The Detroit Pistons, who also got bounced in the Eastern Conference playoffs in the first round. They lost to the New York Knicks. Then also the New York Knicks. Now, they are still playing basketball. This was published on May 12th. They're still playing basketball right now, and they're probably going to be able to move on to the Eastern Conference Finals. So I would say they're not really a team that's looking to have a retooling or just a complete overhaul of their team to add with Jalen Brunson. They seem like they're in a pretty good position right now. And the Oklahoma City Thunder, who are being rumored for a lot of different players right now, but mainly because their timeline is ahead of schedule in a sense. They have more picks than they can, deal with, essentially, right? Sam Presti has done an amazing job there, and that team is loaded. So anytime, even with Giannis potentially requesting a trade, anytime any of those big stars are floated as potentially being on the move, the Oklahoma City Thunder are included. So they were included in this article, and of course, the Orlando Magic. Now, what exactly is the thought process here, and what are the odds for each of those teams? I would say right now, based off of those teams, if Devin Booker were to be moved, OKC could potentially be a team that I see for everybody. I do buy into that. The Houston Rockets are an interesting point because I feel like Kevin Durant has been the one that's been mocked to go there, but I'm not really buying the Detroit Pistons or the New York Knicks. I think both of those teams are in a bit different spots, but they're very happy with where they were. The Detroit Pistons tripled their win total, and the New York Knicks are going to the conference finals. You can maybe make the same argument for the Thunder, but they've got to close out the last one. They got to win one of the last 2 games against Denver to make it to the conference finals. I don't know if they're going to be looking at any sort of deal like that. Giannis is on a different level, so I think that the Magic are an interesting spot, but is it possible? I think that that is probably the main crux of this deal. What exactly would a trade like this look like? Well, I did a little bit of extra research on this, and I went to some articles in April, because this is something that's been floated out for a while, and this comes from Connor Toms. Hopefully I'm not pronouncing that incorrectly, but of Bleacher Report as well. Magic land Booker in exchange for Anthony Black, Wendell Carter Jr., Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, Jet Howard, and 3 future first-round picks. Now, I don't know how valuable those 3 future first-round picks will be. Obviously, you can't trade first-round picks in back-to-back years, so they'll be staggered. So I'm guessing maybe if this deal were to be done in this offseason, you'd give them one this year, then in 27, and then in 29, and who knows if Devin Booker will still be on the Orlando Magic, I guess, at that point in 29, and who knows what that team would look like. But to not have to give up Jalen Suggs or Franz Wagner one, it's a dream scenario if you were to get Devin Booker, but two, it just doesn't make any sense cap-wise. So that's why I do still question what exactly is the outlook for something like this and why a lot of people are including the Magic in these trade deals. Look, the Magic struggled on offense last year. It was well documented. I've mentioned this before. We were the worst shooting team in like the last decade, essentially. One of those, the 2015-16 Lakers were pretty bad. They were like 0.01% worse. And then this team just could not score the basketball, especially in the playoffs. And Boston Celtics are a very good team. But I keep seeing a lot of different mocks or mock trades for these really big star offensive players, but it doesn't seem to be taking into account that this Orlando Magic team is racing to that second apron. Like, I mean, they're not in a spot right now where they can really make a deal like this and add somebody without giving up some sort of with somebody who has got a big contract on their own team, like Jalen Suggs. And I don't think, well, I'll get into this in just a second. I don't think Franz Wagner should be included in any sort of deal. I think that this would blow it up too much and just wouldn't make sense from the Orlando Magic perspective. And if that was the type of haul that you were going to potentially give to the Phoenix Suns, I get that they don't have any first-round picks, but even then, it's probably still just not enough because you're really blowing it up. And what exactly is the value of those picks? Is it enough for you to just actually bank on those? And that's how you do your rebuild? Probably not. I don't think so whatsoever. Now, Devin Booker is an amazing player. He's clearly able to be either I don't know if I could say that he's definitely capable of being the best player on a championship team, but with the remaining players left in these current playoffs, it certainly seems like he would be on that level, but he's definitely a player that could be the second best player on a championship team. So if you compare him with Paolo Banchero, it certainly makes sense. And his playmaking is certainly up from years past. He's averaging 7 assists from last season, 25.6 points per game. And throughout everything and all of the turmoil with the Phoenix Suns, seems like he's a very loyal individual and loyal player to that organization. He's certainly seen about 4 or 5 different iterations of those teams, and his shooting numbers haven't dropped, and any sort of pressure that is put on him to be that number one kind of guy, maybe along with KD, certainly haven't seen his efficiency numbers go down the tank, if you give me that one. So while the Magic had the 26th ranked I believe attack on offense, Devin Booker will be able to help, but it just not clicking exactly for why this deal would be able to go down or how it would even be able to go down. Now, Franz Wagner is somebody else I wanted to highlight because, look, in a deal like this, I almost feel like you would have to give up a young, talented player who is on a major contract and even a step above Jalen Suggs, and that would be Franz Wagner. Now, we all know that he obviously cannot shoot the basketball right now, but he's still a player with a very good all-around game and somebody who I definitely think can be the second best player on a championship team. The main issue with this team is whether or not Jalen Suggs could be the third best player on a championship team. But when you got those first two figured out, making a deal like this or this big kind of makes me question who exactly is making these lists and whether or not they're tapped in enough to Orlando Magic basketball to understand that this team making the playoffs was a major success for them, even though it felt like a step back from last year because of all of the injuries and then all of the turmoil as the season went on and then matching up against the Boston Celtics when they were completely healthy. But I digress. Thought it was very interesting, so I'll link that down below in the description. Along with that will be the other channel that I cover the NBA on, so make sure that you guys also give that a check if you did enjoy today's video. And as always, I will see you guys next time with more Orlando Magic basketball content.